to another episode of The Hustle. I am your host, Successful Lewis. If you haven't, go check out my latest episode on YouTube. It's called I Graduated. Today, my special guests have a lot of words of encouragement. Please welcome Danara onto The Hustle. Danara, how are you?
Hey, Success. I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing excellent. How's your day going?
So far, so good. Little laundry, little music. Just been chilling. What about you?
Mine's going good. Just got a fresh haircut and just trying to see what's good out here in this career world. I just graduated with my bachelor's at an HBCU.
Congratulations.
So for the people that don't know, can you just give us a little brief of your background and how did you get in position where you got in?
Okay. Hi guys. I'm Danara. I currently work for the Air Force as a contract specialist. I guess I can start with growing up. So I grew up in Joliet, Illinois. So I went to just a regular public school district all the way up through high school. Not a bad education system, pretty decent education system. Didn't know what I wanted to do as far as like after high school. Ended up going to junior college, and y'all, when I tell y'all that I went to junior college forever on and off from like 2005 or 6 all the way to like 2011, just because I wasn't going consistently. When I left junior college, I had enough credits to actually have a bachelor's. Like I was transitioning into graduate school. I mean, not graduate school, undergrad, with already 120 something credits, and of course I couldn't take them all. So sidebar, if you're going to a community college or a junior college, make sure that you're taking what you need to take and not all that extra stuff, because you could leave. Like I've heard so many horror stories of people leaving with like so many credits. But anyways, I was trying to eventually I started just liking what I was learning. So I have an associate's in child development, and I also got a certificate in HR management when I was in junior college. But at first I was off and on, life happens and I wasn't going, but that last year or so I was going consistently, and I ended up enjoying it. Cause at first I was like, nah, I'm not gonna do no more college after this. I had that child development thing. I was already working at a daycare. And so I was like, okay, this is good for me. But I decided up towards the end, like, okay, no, maybe I'll get my bachelor's and go ahead and do that. And so I was searching for schools, but I didn't want to pay an application fee because cheap. So I ended up looking for schools without application fees, and I ended up going to a private school called North Central College. It's in Naperville, Illinois. Really good school. It was a bit a bit pricey. So I avoided the application fee, but not so much with the student loans. But really good school. I got a really good education there. I got my bachelor's in psychology, and then I got my master's in leadership with emphasis on higher ed. And I did that within 3.5 years because I had they have a duo program, so I did a duo bachelor's and master's program. After college, life happened, ups and downs, things like that. I don't want to go into details about maybe another podcast.
Right.
But so life happened, and after grad school, found myself just like, what am I gonna do? Let me figure out like jobs. Did so many interviews in the higher ed arena, and got a whole bunch of, you're so great, we love you, we'll call you. Oh man, we got one more person to interview. Just all this complimentary stuff that made me feel secure in the fact that I may have like secured a position with certain schools and certain companies and stuff. And none of it ever, came through. You get the emails of like, we found somebody else, or even people were good enough to even call me and say, hey, like it wasn't anything you did, we just decided to go in another direction. But that stuff sucks. And being visually impaired and people not knowing like what you actually can do, the level of ignorance in the community about us and our skill level is, it's just there. It's a big deal. Like they don't know what we can and can't do. So I eventually just Googled jobs for the blind and visually impaired. And a lot of the jobs that we are offered are like,
The factory.
manufacturing jobs or customer service, stuff like that. So I ended up like I was telling you, well, we'll get into that later. But I ended up taking a job at a factory, one of the factories, and working um and ended up coming up on a really good job, the job I have now, because the CEO there knew somebody that was trying to do something, and that got me on the path that I am now, which is so dope because I work for the government, so it's a solid career path. It's not easy. I mean, it's not easy to lose a job working for the federal government, and so it's a really dope experience. I've been learning a lot. It's coming up on a year since I've been doing it, and it's just exciting to actually be able to use my skill set, use my brain, and do what I can do in that way. You know what I'm saying? Instead of like working in the factory, kind of doing work and I'm not saying like if you work in a factory, you just whatever. I'm just saying like for me, I wanted to be able to use the education that I had and use the strength of my mind to do what I needed to do. And I did while I was there, but I'm just grateful for the position that I got in, and I give all glory to God because I know that most of that movement came from him.
So I want to rewind for a little bit. So when you say you was at a community college, were you VI then?
Yeah. So I was born VI. I was born
Okay.
visually impaired. I was high partial up until about I would say 2006. I started becoming like low. My vision started getting lower and lower. Um, I started junior college off high partial. So I would use a CCTV, push it around, whatever. And then by the time I finished, I was probably close to where I am now, or even I might have been where I am now. Because now I have basically light perception because I have scar tissue on my retina, and then I have tunnel vision due to retinitis pigmentosa. So there's only like a little small piece where I can kind of sort of see through. So I can see if my lights are on or off, and if the sun is shining. But that's pretty much about it.
Okay, and so tell me if you agree with this statement. So I was talking to one of my friends, DJ, and we were just talking about like the job market with visually impaired people. And he said something kind of stuck with me. He said, we live in a world where it's sighted. And by him saying that, because I'm like, in high school, they push us to go to college and get a good job. But if you are VI in a public school, then your teacher don't know like what it feels like to be VI. So every job is not going to be accessible, and every job may not hire you because of X, Y, and Z because some type of liability issue. So do you agree with that statement? Like we live in a sighted world where everything is just geared to them because
Well, yeah, we do live in a sighted world, and everything is geared toward a person that's totally sighted. If you look
Mhm.
at the things we have, and our iPhones, of course, now they come with speech software and stuff like that. But you think when things were first developed, they were like, hey, let's put this on here. Blind people are not going to be like the first thought, because we live in a sighted world. It just
Right.
is it just is what it is. But I do think that it's important to see the value in things like public school, and what I'm saying, things like going to church with sighted people and stuff like that. I don't want to get to the point where I'm just secluded off to my blind friends, but to get that social experience. Like if I was to have a child, I would send them to public school, because I want them to get that social experience of being around people that are not like them, because in the long run, in the future, we live in a sighted world, so
That is
everybody
true.
you're surrounded with isn't going to be blind or visually impaired.
So you want to at least like let them go there for like middle school at least, like just like for the independence, because
I would let them
oh,
do
okay,
some. I would probably let my child do like what I did. I did summer camps. So I did
okay.
summer camps totally BVI at the Illinois School for Blind and Visually Impaired. But that's the only thing that I did as far as like blind school. I wasn't. my grandma was not letting me go to live 3 hours away. No, she wasn't going to do that. And I was mad at first about it, because growing up, you're like, why can't I just do it? In high school, people are mean. They're, why do your eyes move like this? Well, even in junior high, you deal with a lot of that other stuff. But in the end, in the long run, I see the positives that came out of me being able to do the camps and be around those people and learn from them, and then just go back to school with my peers and be there.
So when it comes to like the job market, though, why do like some of the counselors push the factory jobs on us
I
versus
think
like looking into like your career?
I think the thing is, I'm not gonna say, okay, so you use the word push, so I'm gonna roll with it. But I'm just gonna put out there that I found my factory job on my own. My counselor was not the career. It just wasn't a lot of help when it came to like the counselor and all that. But I feel like when it comes to us, like the thing that the factory job does is it gets you work experience. I was there, I was running machines, I was able to pull a group together to get this done. We were doing this. It helps build your resume, because a lot of times the issue with BVI people is that we don't have a lot of work experience. We won't have as much work experience. Well, I mean, that's not my testimony per se, but what I'm saying, for a lot of people, that's what it is. And I think those factory jobs give you that work experience. And I think maybe that's part of the reason the counselors look at it that way. And you have to think about it too. You have your bachelor's, I have my master's, other people have associate's degrees and stuff like that, but there are some people who don't. And even a sighted person without a degree is going to end up, working at a grocery store, working on a factory line, working at a call center. That's just what it is. That's just the country we live in. Shoot, even people with degrees end up working those jobs.
So did you ever have like an internship at your community, or getting your bachelor's, or?
So getting my bachelor's, did I have internship? No, because as I was already undergrad, I was already working. I was already working at a child care center, so I just used that as my internship. And then to get my bachelor's, I was why can't I think of the word? Basically, I was an assistant in a psychology classroom for a little bit, but I went to a liberal arts school, so you didn't have to do internship. You had to do like capstones and stuff like that. And so I did a little bit of extra like stuff on the side. I worked in the multicultural affairs office, things like that, but not because it was required of me, just because I wanted to.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Um, I know, like, well, for me, I never got an intern, and I definitely reached out to several people. I got the messages, emails, Instagram messages. Like, I got everything. I don't know why, but I never received an intern. I definitely, that's the one thing, like, I don't like when people, like, they say send your resume or they're gonna look into you, but then you reach out, they be acting funny, low key.
I'm gonna tell you, like, just move on to the next. There's so many companies out here, so many businesses, so
Right.
many organizations, that just move on to the next, because you can't wallow in the no's. Now, the no's that you're getting right now, that's gonna help you respect that yes more, because you know you're so caught up on, like, they ain't calling me. But when the people do call you, that's supposed to call you, you're gonna work that much harder, because you're gonna respect the grind. You know what I'm saying? You know what you
Right.
was looking for, you know how long it
Mm-hmm.
took you to get it.
That's true. How important is it for you, like being VI, and just like applying yourself when it comes to like a job? Because like I was having a conversation like with a few people, and that's why I wanted to put this together. Like there's like tons of people like my age, like in my generation, that refuse to work, and I want to know like why is that? Like, and I'm only speaking on the ones that are able.
So we've kind of talked about this,
Yeah, you
but I think the issue is comfort. People are comfortable. if some people are comfortable. Yeah, I could just stay at my mom's house and I don't have to pay rent. She cooks all the meals. I got my SSI. I can travel when I want to, use my money for this, and this, and I'm cool. And your family's cool with that because you are a person with a disability. You know what I'm saying? Look at, we talk about sighted world, but think about it. If sighted little baby was living at his mama house at 35 and not contributing to rent bills and eating and all that, then they would be like, he trifling. But for us being BVI, people would be accepted. They would accept it. Like, I feel like my family would be cool if I just said, you know what, I'm over it. I can't see. I need to come stay with such and such. I'll give y'all a couple hun and I think they would be fine with it. And I think the issue is that, and maybe it's not an issue for some people, but comfort is what it is. Like, that's the problem.
And
Either,
go
oh, go
ahead.
ahead.
I was gonna say that's sad because like I do know a lot of people in that situation, like, and that's why I be like, these parents, they need to push their kid out the house, like for the ones that are able,
But
and because
But you
like the
got to
ones
think about it too. We say parents need to push their kids, but a lot of parents don't know. They're naive too. They may
they
feel like
are,
their child can't do nothing because they blind. And it's sad, but some people aren't educated even when they have the children. Like I said, I mean, my grandma was up on it, you know what I'm saying, up until I was able to be in high school and be on it for myself, as far as like what's going on, what can she do, what can't she do. But everybody doesn't have that luxury. Everybody doesn't have those parents and they may be attending IEP meetings and doing this and that, but at the same time, they may feel like in danger. If I send my child out into this big world, like, are they going to be in danger? Are they going to be hurt? Because I think a lot of stuff, and I think, it's important. Like, I feel like if you ever have the opportunity, you should do something talking to parents of people with disabilities or children with disabilities, because there's probably some underlying fears there. There's probably some other stuff that comes into it. Because of course they don't want to just hold them back, but it could be a lack of awareness.
but at the same time, I see what you're saying. I do got that in the works because our parents not gonna be around all their life, and then that child, or I ain't gonna say that child, like that 25-year-old,
Person.
that 25-year-old is gonna be stuck. So, and that's
Yeah.
why he or she need to get the experience now. So once they get into the real world, they have a social life.
And
Because
I think maybe, seeing people like you, I know for me, a lot of like my drive, I mean, I got a lot of like push from teachers and other
mhm.
family members and church people too, but a lot of my drive to like do this and hurry up and get it done and I can do this was from seeing other blind people do it.
And another thing, like a lot of folks just don't have that. That's not aggressive like some of us, where they know how to go get it. And I know I was talking to another person. They was like, "These blind people don't want to do nothing." I mean, I understand that, but at the same time, I can't be like that. I can't think like they don't want to do nothing, because there are some that want to, but they parents just refuse to let them
Yeah,
out the house.
but I mean, if you're 20 something years old and you actually do want to do something, there are ways you can leave.
Right,
You could find a crib in a disability building. You can get your social security changed over to your own name just with a doctor's note saying that you can handle your own funds. Like, you can do all this stuff and make yourself independent. Sometimes you gotta snap, like I told you about getting uncomfortable to get comfortable. You know what I'm saying? You gotta get in a space where, yeah, this may not feel right now, but I know that it get greater later. I know that the situation is gonna change. You gotta have. I always say life is about execution. You know what I'm saying? It's,
right.
what do you want to do? What do you need to do that? Where do you want to go? Like, if I say today, all right, I'm about to come to North Carolina. Okay, I said it. Now what? I need to book a flight. I need to look for hotels or ask somebody, can I stay at their house? I need an agenda of everything that I want to do when I'm there. You know what I'm saying? I got to make this trip what it is, what it's supposed to be. I can say anything. Yeah, people can say you want to work. My friend told me she sent somebody a link to a job, and it's a work from home job. And so job listings have various things on them. And one of the things said lift 20 pounds. Minding you, it's a call center job. So you're probably not really going to have to do that. But the girl wigged out. I'm not going to be able to do it. And it's like, no, like, ask questions of the person who's over the job, like that HR representative. Talk to them and see what it really is before you give up. Sometimes we give up before we even know what really is going on.
And see, so when you say your person with that, I know a lady who's 40 years old. She has a 16-year-old son. And I remember one time, like, we was on Dabble talking about she was coming out here to work. Or better yet, yeah, she wanted to work, but she was just coming for the evaluation. And she told me her sister told her she cannot. And I'm like, what? You 40 years old? Like, why is your sister limiting you for so you could do better for yourself? And that's when I be telling folks, they be like, I be doing too much for us. Like, I got to know how to approach a person, but like, that's a problem. You're a grown woman out here.
Yeah.
Like, you should be able to do what you want when you want. And also, your sister should not be stopping you to better yourself.
But
Plus, you
some people feel
40.
obligated to family. So, I mean, I've actually heard people speak to that too, as far as like, I just felt like, I needed to stay with my family. Like, they needed my income, they needed me to be around, like, when I leave, so it's different strokes for different folks out here. People would tell me, why are you going all the way to wherever, where I moved to for my
Right.
factory job? Why are you going all the way there? And they're only going to be paying you, nine, whatever an hour. And it's like, I'm going because I want to fend for myself. Yeah, I worked and I was happy for about a year, and then after a year and a half, I got uncomfortable. I was like, no, like, this ain't it. Like, I'm smart as hell, like, and I have a good head on my shoulders. I have a master's degree. You know what I'm saying? I have work experience. I've done, I've launched nonprofits. I've ran women's groups. I've, done college prep stuff. I've worked in daycares. I've worked in, various offices at my college. Like, I had a lot of kind of work experience, like a vast, and I felt like, I could be doing better. And so I started being vocal about it. But I had to get to that uncomfortable place. And I started being vocal about it, which in turn led to the CEO saying, hey, I know this guy who works for, the Air Force, and he's looking for high potential blind people to work directly for, I'm saying directly for the Air Force. So you don't really just come up on that without, if I hadn't have been being vocal, if I wouldn't allow myself to get in that uncomfortable space, and then if I wouldn't allow myself to speak up and speak out about how, my level of potential and where I feel like I should be, they were asking me, how's it going? And I'm like, I'm ready to quit. This is boring. Like, it's not a challenge anymore, and not in a rude way of like, oh, y'all need to hurry up, but just in a way of like, hey, listen, like, I'm out here. Like, I was volunteering for stuff, I was helping out. And that's another thing too. Sometimes you got to work for free or work for less, because, and I hate to say that, but because being blind, you have to sometimes show yourself, able or capable. Because even people who work in these agencies don't really know what we're capable of.
Right. So I like that when you say, so we have to get uncomfortable to get comfortable. So was you nervous when you left your factory and transitioned to where you at now, like relocating?
So I relocated first from Illinois to the other job in Kansas. That's where the other job was, in Kansas. So I relocated there. Um, I mean, of course you're gonna have that initial like, oh my god, like, this is what it is. But I wasn't like super nervous, because I had already done it from, from Illinois to Kansas, and so now from Kansas to Ohio for me was just like another move. The only difference now is that I moved right in the middle of pandemic. So 2 days after I moved here, Governor DeWine shut Ohio down.
Hmm.
So then the difference was like, I was, when I moved to Kansas, I was getting out. I'm social. I'm going to dinner by myself, but talking, going different places, doing what I do. But here I couldn't do that. So it was more not so much nervous. I mean, nervous, of course. Like, there's a whole ass, excuse my language, like, entire like pandemic out here trying to murk nigga. And so of course that's nervous, that made me nervous. But I think, no, I can honestly say, like, I was pretty chill about it. One thing about me, success, I don't know if you know, but like, I'm a strong believer in God. Like, I talk a lot of junk, I laugh, I joke, I play, I do whatever I do. But in the end of the day, like, I trust God, and I feel like God makes no mistakes, and everything that has happened, I attribute to God and his plan. And so moving here for me was just like, oh, God's plan. everything fell into place. Just like with Kansas, everything fell into place, bam, 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 so smoothly that for me, I couldn't do nothing but just roll with it.
I'm listening.
No, I mean that's really it. Like
Okay.
I I was somewhat like, of course you're gonna have those little jitters about stuff, but for the most part, no. Like I trust God. I feel like anything that's anything that's supposed to happen will happen, and anything that isn't won't.
Mm. So, like, where you at now? Are you comfortable? Like, are you in a position like you could just do more than what you was doing before?
As far as like money, is that what you mean, like monetarily?
Yes.
Financially,
Yes.
yeah, I'm in a better position. I'm able to have savings. I'm able to save money. I'm able to pay all my bills instead of deciding which one
Okay.
I'm going to pay or paying half this, half this, half this. It's a way better place. I'm making dang near 2.5, 3 times the money I was making on the factory floor.
Okay.
So
Flex on them.
I mean, they know better.
Yeah.
But yeah,
That's
so yeah, it's been good. Like I am truly blessed, bro. Like when I tell you blessed, um, I'm so grateful to God for everything that has happened despite my visual impairment. And yeah, it happened mid 30s, but it still happened. And I think that's one thing that I'll tell people like, younger than me, like everything, and you may look and say like, okay, other people my age are doing this and this, but it may not look like that for you. That may not be God's plan for you, but keep working at it, execute. I like the fact that you put your mind to something and you do it. You don't just have all this stuff floating out there. I want to do this, I want to do that. You're actually doing it. And I think that's the thing, especially being BVI, y'all. We got to step up and show people, and I hate to say like, oh, we got to prove a point, but we sort of have to prove a point because people don't know.
so. What
People,
you?
when people are,
Go
oh, go
ahead.
ahead.
You can go ahead.
I was gonna say when people are amazed by a blind person living on their own and making their own meals and washing their own butt and dressing themselves, that's
Yeah.
horrible. That should not be amazing. That's me living a normal life. That's me doing the same thing you do.
And that's why we trying to put like a lot of the VI people on the map, like from when it comes to our producers, our singers, because I do know a lot of folks like when you do something good, like they like to pat you on the back, or you doing a good job, or if you got a sight person beside you, they be um, like they like to say like, I you blessed for like doing it. Just normal, just start with the extraness. I can't stand that stuff.
Yeah, it's just normal.
That's cool. So, in the meantime, so when it comes to getting your bachelor's or your master's, a lot of folks that are VI, some people go to school, some don't. Would you suggest if they want to do more for themselves to at least get some form of education, just more than a diploma?
So, cited or not, I'm all about post high school education.
Okay.
So that's just always been my thing because, I grew up in, low income, low socioeconomic status kind of areas. So, for us, you couldn't go to college unless, somebody was on the football team or they got a scholarship. They were just extra super freaking smart. Like you didn't see a lot of us going to college. A lot of people got jobs after high school and stuff like that. So I actually had like a program for a while called Project Better, and it was just encouraging kids go to school after school. So, and I'm not saying you need to go to college and get a bachelor's, get a master's, get whatever. You can just go like to trade school, get a CNA. BVI, there are so many options for us. There are like trainings. I have a friend right now who's going to go into training to be like a credit counselor. She's also going to do medical billing and coding, and it's all free because she's BVI. So there are things you can do to market yourself. And I feel like it helps a lot.
So for the ones that don't know, what is BBI?
BVI is just blind
Oh,
or visually impaired. It's just an
okay.
easier way for me to just say it without having to say blind or
Oh,
visually impaired.
I'm thinking you talking about like one of them programs like the BP Business Enterprise
Oh, no, no,
Program.
no, no. No, I'm just saying
Oh,
BVI like us who are blind or visually
I
impaired.
just
My
always
bad.
say VI.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's a B there.
Okay, then. That's awesome. So, like, for what are your future plans now? You in a position where you at for your 2021?
So for 2021, um, I just want to get better at what I'm doing. I'm gonna give myself the 3 years that my job gives to kind of train and stuff like that. So I'm gonna do that and just get better at my job. I said that I'm gonna work on my PhD, so that'll be coming in the next like probably 5 years. I'll start working on that. But I'm probably gonna stick with the government. But I'm going to my plan is to do a women's empowerment group. I had started it in Kansas, and so now I kind of want to do it in a national way and in a virtual way. So that's going to be in the next 3 to 5 years as well. Just kind of like doing what I love, which is empowering and encouraging people, and then also like being good at my job. And then also, I love learning. I love knowing. So just getting my PhD.
The same with me, minus some of the stuff you said, like, I'm done with school. I am finished. I don't want to go back. I like to learn. I just don't really care for all the papers and the research. So, and like I've been in school for 7 years, which you can check out on my latest podcast or an episode. I've been in school for 7 years, no living loans. And so I'm done. I'm just ready to really just work and just get into my field. But that's in the process right now.
Right. And that's good. I mean, and like I said, everybody's different. Everybody's not going to have the same plan,
Mm-hmm.
but have a plan and execute. You know what I'm saying? Do what you need to do to get where you want to be. And sometimes the end result may not be exactly what you wanted it to be, because I would have never thought that I would be working for the federal government in any way, whether it's Air Force, FBI, whoever.
Right.
Like, I never would have thought that. But, God got me here, and it's a place where I could flourish, you know what I'm saying? And grow and gain tenure and work for a long time. It's not gonna close down. It might furlough, but they ain't gonna let me go.
That's true. So the next 5 years, we can expect you with your PhD. So
No, not with it. Not with it. Working on it.
Working on it.
Working on it.
So does that mean I gotta call you Dr. Danara?
Yeah. Dr. D. Renee, Dr. Danara, Dr. Barlow,
So
whatever you want to start with.
So it's gonna be a problem if I call you Miss.
I'm gonna be like, it's doctor. No, I'm just playing. I'm not like that.
But yeah, I know what you're saying. I'm gonna call you Dr. Danara. And I mean, I just believe whoever got the most money when we go out to eat, they just pay for it. I got a bachelor's. You gonna have a PhD.
I guess I'll take you to Wendy's.
That's crazy, because I sure got some in there. But I appreciate you for coming on the hustle, and all that good stuff.
No problem, bro. Like, no problem. Anytime, any opportunity to encourage and kind of talk a little bit, I'm down. I'm down. It's a positive. It's a positive thing. I'm glad to be invited to the hustle.
You're right.
I'll be back, y'all. See y'all next time.
I am your host, Success Lewis, and you were just watching The Hustle.